Hello everyone, my name is Joshua and this is the 185th video on my video journal series. Today's date is Wednesday, the 12th of August, 2026. How's everyone been? I've been pretty good, thank you. And today I'm going to talk about something a little bit disgusting. I don't blame you if you were to click off this video, but I'm going to talk about public restrooms. Now, yes, you can click off. I know this may seem disgusting, but I got a few good stories to tell about me using public restrooms and how they can be a hit or miss. Today I actually went to a public restroom. Mind you, it wasn't like a busy area. It was more in like a secluded area. But I was surprised by how well maintained and clean it was. Mind you, it's a more modern sort of bathroom facility. But even then, I was like, hey, I don't mind coming back here if I absolutely need to do my business. Mind you, I only took a number one. I didn't take a number two because I generally had pretty bad experiences taking a number two in public restrooms. But one thing that did bother me was that there were no mirrors near where the sinks are. And I was like, oh, that's a weird thing. Like when you wash your hands, do up your hair, you can't like look at yourself in the mirror. And that's something I thought, more modern bathroom facilities would have. I know like some really old ones even have like mirrors. Mind you, they're like cracked and chipped, but yeah, so my public restroom experience today wasn't too bad. It was actually quite good. Um, but I've had plenty of good and bad public restroom experiences, not only in Australia but also overseas. I'll just focus on the ones here in Australia, and I'll mention some, you know, key ones here. I'm not going to go through like every single experience that I know of. I remember I went to Bathurst last year. I'm gonna start regional. I went to Bathurst, and I remember once I got off at the train station at Bathurst, they had a really nice train station bathroom there, very well maintained, better than the ones at Central and all that. Yeah, props to the people who work at Bathurst Railway Station, New South Wales. You guys have a very nice bathroom. I guess not many people go through there, but still, it was a very nice experience. But I remember walking, and I remember there was this public park in Bathurst, and it had like a public restroom. There was no lighting inside, very odd structure. But when I went inside, it was just like pitch black, and I was like, all right, well, I need to turn on my like torch on my phone to be able to see. And I just got like some pretty like obviously no one was there, but like I was like, yeah, this is not really like welcoming sort of thing. Yet again though, it was just like I guess due to lighting, which I guess really like makes or breaks the public restroom experience. I know that sounds disgusting, but I guess it's a tip of how you like sort of make a public restroom more welcoming, because even though there may be public restroom facilities near parks, train stations, people aren't going to use them if they view them as dirty. So you have to clean up their image. And obviously I had to do a number one. Thankfully, no number two. But yeah, I had to go to the bathroom twice, surprisingly. But yet again, it was like a pretty long train trip, I remember. And yeah, I just remember that like public restroom being very dark. I was like, yeah, I would not like to go anywhere near this place in the foreseeable future. And yeah, like obviously like dirty tiles, the urinals all outdated. That's my little critique. But no, Bathurst is a lovely town and all that. And whilst we're on the topic of trains, I'll talk about the because I'm not going to mention this ever again on this channel, but the train station bathrooms at Museum Station in the city, in the Sydney CBD, most probably the best train station bathrooms that I've been to in Australia. The ones at Museum Station are very clean, at least like clean in terms of city standards, but they're like really old as well. And it's just like, if you go in there, right, if you've maybe seen like pictures online, it's like they have like that old style of urinals and original tiles and even wooden stalls for like each toilet. It's like, oh well, this was completely unnecessary. Maybe they could have like refurbished this like ages ago, but I'm like, don't, because like it keeps with the aesthetic of Museum Station being like one of those like old stations in the Sydney Trains network. And it's one of those stations that really has not changed throughout the years. It's still like pretty much intact from when it was built in 1926. I know my history, but yeah, for a city station, yeah, surprisingly not that bad, and it still has the tiles, the wooden stalls, the old urinals. Same with the bathrooms at QVB. They got the old style of urinals where it's like three urinals, one pole, and dividers. It seems really weird, but at the same time, it kind of works. Like um, at least this is for like the men's bathroom. I've only been in men's bathroom. I don't know what the women's or other bathrooms look like because generally there's a reputation of men's bathrooms, especially in public places, being more dirtier. More untidy. Let's put it that. And yeah, I guess Bathurst Station, Museum Station. I remember the train station bathrooms at Wynyard are horrible. Same with Parramatta. I've used those train station bathrooms, and for Wynyard being such a busy city station, the bathrooms, like half of them are out of order, like at any given time. But the ones that are in order, where you can actually access them, yeah, the lighting, I don't know, the lighting, the cracked mirror, toilets are fine. I mean, at Town Hall, you also got that same sort of issue, but with Town Hall, at least, like, I feel like, the bathrooms there, well, you expect them, right? Because Town Hall has more, I guess, people going in and out of those bathrooms than Wynyard. It's a busier station overall, but Wynyard, still a busy city station, but I feel like they could upgrade their bathrooms and all that. But the new Sydney Metro stations, they have very nice clean bathrooms. Mind you, they're modern and all that. They're most likely going to get trashed as the years go by. But yeah, I think that's an example of how you should do a public restroom right at train stations, And I'm going to mention one more train station example. This will be my last train station example for public restrooms. And that was when I was in Japan. And I would say this has been, like, what I'm about to mention is most probably my worst ever public restroom encounter. You'll know why. And it actually happened in Japan, surprisingly, at a train station. Shinjuku Station, to be precise. And I know Shinjuku, right? It's like the largest, train station in the world. There's so many exits and public restrooms. Which one do I mean? Well, I don't know the specific one, and I'm pretty sure it's Shinjuku. It was like along the Yamanote line, I remember. It was like believe it was Shinjuku. And I went into this bathroom. Mind you, it was a pretty small bathroom, maybe like half the size of this room I'm in. And, I was like, hey, this is, pretty clean for being the world's busiest train station, but yet again, it is Japan. And, the experience happened when I entered in one of the bathroom stalls. I saw someone coming out, and I was like, all right, they're done. And then I looked in the toilet bowl. Now, I'm giving you a warning. What I'm about to describe is very, very, very disgusting, all right? You can skip ahead maybe 20 seconds if you don't want to hear about this. That's my warning. I saw a toilet bowl completely filled with poo. Yep, to the top of the bowl, it was completely filled with poo. And, that's the end of, that's a squeamish bit. And I will never get that image out of my mind. I will never get that image out of my mind. I'm sort of a little bit traumatized, because that's something you don't really expect to see in a country like Japan. But yeah, again, my expectations were subverted. And I remember just like walking out, I was like, oh my god, this smells. And then ended up just going to like a urinal instead because I had to like do a number one. And then the funniest thing is when I walked out, I saw this like, I think it was a cleaner lady who worked at the train station. She was like entering in with like all her cleaning supplies, her cleaning tray. And I thought to myself, man, wherever they're paying you, the cleaning lady, you do not earn enough money to see what's in there. And I actually feel sorry if she actually had to go into that store and clean it up Most probably yes, because it's like, well, we already have one toilet busted. There's only like one other one in operation. We got to fix this toilet. Maybe she called a plumber. I don't know. But even just saying that, like, I was like, nah, I am not dealing with this. Um, but yeah, that was most probably my worst public restroom encounter. But that's because I just saw um, that thing, which I'm not gonna mention. Um, I know I'm laughing, but like I'm just trying to laugh off the side of it. The side of it. Anyway, I'm done with train stations. So I think train stations have like a pretty notorious reputation for being like trash and all that, but it really depends. Um, but out and about in public, I remember if you're doing international now, I remember when I was in Auckland, the bathrooms there were pretty nice. And I remember there was these bathrooms in Auckland CBD near like the Docklands area. Um, that you like press a button and you have like this automatic door that like swings open or moves to the side and you enter and then you like get to press a button to close that door. Now I know we have those types of public restrooms here in Sydney, like near parks and all that. I've definitely been in them before, but the ones in Auckland, I noticed they were like a little bit older, and I will say they were completely fine. I think I actually took. I'm not gonna describe what I took. Like, oh, I took a number one, I took a number two. I'm not gonna do that. But I remember I was in there for a while, and mind you, if you're doing a number one in a bathroom, I guess it wouldn't be like that bad. But when you have to do a number two, you have to like. Here's another thing I have to mention: you have to look to see if there's toilet paper, right? Because um, oh man, because I've like heard stories online where people go in public restrooms to do business and like, oh crap, no toilet paper. Luckily, I think this place had toilet paper, which is why I always check the roll before I do my business. But yet again, though, if you're in a rush, you have to do it, but you're like, oh crap, trying to like all right, well, what's like a local business around here? Can I just tell one of their staff to like throw a roll? I don't know. And I remember seeing them around New Zealand as well. And New Zealand had quite good public restrooms. I didn't really have like a bad encounter. Um, um, but I guess all right. If I'm done with New Zealand, I'll most probably talk more about Australia, Australia, Sydney and all that. Um, all right. I know I said I was going to mention transport anymore, but ferries. Sydney ferries have pretty good public restrooms. I don't haven't really. Well, mind you, like toilets, right? All Sydney ferries, at least the ones I've been on in Sydney, have toilets. You can go in, and yeah, they're pretty well maintained. And I always check the toilet paper just to see 100% if they have toilet paper. And luckily they do. And mind you, people get seasick on these ferries, so obviously they need a bathroom just in case anything happens. So I guess that's why they maintain it well, which is good. And oh yeah, train stay. Oh, I know I'm not gonna mention. I know I said I wasn't gonna mention like train stations, but I feel like I should mention bathrooms on trains. I never been. Just a side note, I don't think I've ever been to the toilet on like a coach before, but I've definitely been on like an airplane bathroom and on a train, like on an actual train. I remember here in Sydney, here in New South Wales, I should say, we had a train called the VSET train, V for victory. And those trains were built in like the 1970s. They used to go between Sydney and the Blue Mountains, Sydney to Newcastle, and to the South Coast line. Basically, intercity trains. And they were pretty good trains. I like them. I like the old look, but their bathrooms are so tiny because they were built like to a much different standard to what we have today. Obviously, no like accessibility requirements back then. Basically, it's like the size of a locker. This bathroom, right? It was very very tiny. I remember using that bathroom once. I think I might have mentioned it on this channel before. And it was pretty much like standing room, right? You had to like stand up, do your business. If you're doing a number one, but if you're doing the other thing, you sit down. But I remember as like the train will like tilt, through the Blue Mountains, right, where it's going through like those very steep curves. You'll be like thrashed around this like locker, and if you're like standing up doing your business and you're like, you'll be like thrusted against like the window. You're like, oh my god, I should have just sat down, but now the seats are wet, and I'm like, oh crap. No pun intended. Oh crap. Um, yeah, I guess that's one thing I don't really that one thing I don't miss about the V sets. I like everything else about the V set, those old steel trains, but I do not like their bathrooms. Luckily, with the new Marion trains, the D set trains, which replaced those old V set trains, so the new inner city trains, they've been pretty good. Their bathrooms are like spacious. They're well maintained, and obviously, if you're a wheelchair user, you can actually use one of these bathrooms. Because if you're a wheelchair user on those old trains, you couldn't, unfortunately. And same thing goes with like the Oscars, another train set, another train type here in Sydney. That one used to run intercity, but now it's running suburban. I remember going the bathrooms in there, and that was like pretty much the same experience. They're quite spacious, wheelchair friendly. Um, Same thing with I think are the XPTs wheelchair accessible in terms of the bathrooms? I don't know. I think the last time I went on an XPT, it might have been Melbourne. I remember the bathrooms were okay still. Certainly a little bit bigger than the VSET ones, but um, you know, some room for improvement. Yet again, no pun intended. So yeah, I guess the newer trains here in New South Wales, um, in terms of like intercity trains and regional trains, the bathrooms have been getting better. Um, I also remember when I was in New Zealand, I took a train between Auckland and Wellington, and the bathroom there was pretty nice. Mind you, it was a luxury train, but I used that restroom a few times, and I was like, oh well, yeah, tick another. I guess welcoming bathroom that I didn't really feel like, all right, now I have to like you know, it's like I say welcoming bathroom, but I really mean it. Bathroom where you're not like constantly feeling you're about to like throw up, where it's actually maintained and cleaned well. I know some countries around the world they charge people for using like public restrooms. I know Japan does. Um, and I've always thought about the idea. I'm like, well, on one hand, public restrooms should be easily accessible and all that, even to people like just visiting. It shouldn't just. I guess it should be utilitarian, but it should also be like nice, welcoming, clean. So I was like, oh well, I guess if like this may sound a little bit controversial what I'm saying, but I think if I had to choose between a very dingy old bathroom for free or a very nice, well maintained bathroom for like $2, I would most probably pick the $2 option. It depends what I'm doing. If I'm doing a number one, I might go to dingy. But if I'm doing a number two, 100% the $2 one. I feel like that's you know, that sort of thing. At least for me, that's my sort of decision. If I'm doing a number one, I can stand, go to urinal. That doesn't really matter. But if I'm doing a number two, you really got to pick a nice bathroom. Um, and yeah, like especially in places like movie theaters, right? I've been to like movie theater bathrooms before. And if you're just holding it in right after a very long movie, you're gonna rush to the bathroom. You're just hoping that it's clean. And I've taken some like pretty. I don't want to be graphic again, but I've taken some really big business to the bathroom before. I'll call it that, big business to the bathroom before, and you're like, oh, like, you know, you're like, oh, I just hope there's like enough toilet paper. There's, you know, you just seated there for a while. You're trying to like say, all right, when will this thing end? I want to leave now. I guess when it's at home, you have like nobody around. You can easily just shout to your mum if you run out of toilet paper. But when you're in like a public place, what actually happens if you're in a public place, a public restroom, and there's like you run out of toilet paper? Do you just call the business on the phone or call city council and ask them, hey, can you flick a roll underneath? I've never been in that scenario, but you know what I should start doing? I should most probably put a roll of toilet paper in my backpack whenever I go. So just in case I have a roll, I think that should become more commonplace. Bring a roll of toilet paper everywhere you go because you never know when you need it. And I guess to wrap this video up, because I've been talking about public restrooms, but yet again, I want to talk about this sort of thing because, if you're like a city official or council member or someone in charge of developing one of these facilities, I strongly argued that we should improve. Based on my experiences, we improve public restroom facilities, not just like just to be solely utilitarian. Utilitarian is a good thing, maximizing its utilitarian value, making it durable, also making it welcoming, cleaning up these facilities, improving lighting, even small things like that, just improving the lighting would actually get more people to use these bathrooms. And I've definitely been in some very fancy public restrooms before. Um, and I've been in some very like bad ones, ones where like, all right, well, this is like my last sort of option. Um, but yeah, I think it's just all part of like city design, and you don't really think about public restrooms unless you like really, really need one. I'll be sometimes out on a walk, and I'm like, all right, now I have to go, and I just bust out Google Maps. All right, nearest public restroom. Um, but sometimes Google Maps is like a little bit inaccurate because it says this facility is open, but it's closed. So you're like, oh, I don't want to use that word crap again, but oh crap, I need a I need to find a restroom, and obviously, there are plenty of places you can go. Like you can most probably pop into a pub or business, but yet again, some pubs and businesses, they're very some of them are strict on who can use their restroom. Like patrons only. I'm like, all right, I won't mind if I got myself a coffee or a drink in order to use that bathroom. But like, what if you're like an emergency? You're like, oh man, I just need a restroom right now, but you can't like ask anyone. Um, and obviously, you got to do what you got to do. But yeah, I feel like that problem can be sort of mitigated if we had to come up with a message for today. That problem can be mitigated by improving public access towards restrooms. And I know I said if I'm doing a number two, I'll pay $2 um, to use a restroom, and that's because I prefer um, that restroom to be clean, to have toilet paper, good lighting, um, soap and water, than to have none of those things, or maybe just like water. And I'm like, well, you know, I just come out feeling more dirtier than I went in. Don't take that out of context, but um, it's things that are supposed to be sort of attractions, not in the conventional sense attractions, but it should be welcoming rather than put people off. It's supposed to be a public thing, a public uh, accessible by the public, a pretty much a necessity. To have a standard or um, good quality bathrooms and public infrastructure. Yeah. So yeah, that's enough of me talking about public restrooms. Don't worry, tomorrow will be more interesting because I'll be out and about in the city. Actually, no, that'll be Friday. Sorry, getting my days mixed up. But I will be in uni tomorrow to pick up that camera for one of my assignments. I was thinking of taking a few like city shots to test it out to re-jog my memory on how to use it. Then Friday will be me taking those pictures and all that, editing them, and then I got like a week to do that. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for the week ahead, and yeah, hopefully I'll have more interesting topics to talk about the rest of this week. But anyway, that's all for today, and I guess I'll catch you all tomorrow. Bye, see you, take care, have a great one, stay cool, bye.